The world is on edge this morning after that historic Alaskan summit between President Trump and Vladimir Putin.
While the leaders have departed, offering few specifics on any ceasefire, the lack of an agreement has left many asking what happens now. So for more, we are joined by Ukraine's ambassador to Australia, Vasyl Miroshnichenko. Ambassador, thank you so much for your time this morning. President Trump has publicly urged President Zelensky to make a deal. It seems like the pressure is on him to potentially give up land. Would he do it?
Let's just look at the basics. Russia invaded Ukraine in 2014, got emboldened by their land grab in Crimea, starting the war in Donbass, and then they came back 8 years later to actually occupy Ukraine entirely, subjugate our resistance. They failed miserably. Now they control 20% of the Ukrainian territory. They keep on killing more Ukrainians as we speak, and now they're demanding for Ukraine to just surrender. Of course, we are interested in achieving peace, but we want to have a long-lasting and sustainable peace. And for that, we need to get a ceasefire, and then we should negotiate. And I remain very hopeful about the meeting, which is upcoming in Washington on Monday.
How did you feel seeing Vladimir Putin walk the red carpet yesterday, seemingly embraced, as you see right here, by President Trump? What were you thinking in this moment, and the people of your country too?
Vladimir Putin is a pariah. He's a dictator. He's run his country for almost 26 years.
So what's it like to see him get this sort of treatment then?
Yeah.
Vladimir Putin is a war criminal indicted by International Criminal Court, and he probably would have got arrested if he came to Australia. And that's just what Putin is. Putin is a man who imagines himself a new Peter the Great, who's trying to revive, Russia as an empire, and he doesn't see that without Ukraine. And so every time he talks about a root cause of war, so that's the only thing that he refers to is Ukraine's sovereignty, it's Ukraine's independence, because the fact he believes that Ukraine is not a proper country, Ukraine has no right to exist, and he decided to subjugate the country 11 years ago. Now he's still on a mission.
Ambassador, it's hard not to feel for Zelensky. There is so much pressure upon him. The last time he had a meeting in the Oval Office, it did not go well. We were mortified by how he was treated in that situation. This war's been going on for more than 2 years. How is Zelensky holding up? How is he staying strong?
We admire President Zelensky's leadership, and if it was not for him, we don't know how the history would go. Because you remember when he was still in Kiev and Russians were advancing, trying to kill and capture him, he recorded that video, "I'm here, my team is here, and we're here to fight." It was an inspiration to the Ukrainians, it was an inspiration to the world. And he didn't ask for a ride, he asked for ammunition. And I think that's very important to keep this in mind, because we are fighting for democracy, we are fighting for human rights, we are fighting for the rule of law, the values that Australia has been built on. And there is so much at stake for Australia, because, the way this war is going to play out will define not only the security architecture of Europe, but it will define the security architecture of the Indo-Pacific.
Vasyl, do you hand on heart think that you will get a ceasefire and get everlasting peace here?
I don't know, because I can't predict the future. What I know that we need to have America involved, we need to have Europe involved, and Ukraine must be involved. And the only way to stop Russia, we need to isolate Russia, we need to impose more sanctions on Russia, we need to stop buying Russian oil, we need to send more military equipment to Ukraine, and we need to actually use the Russian sovereign assets to rebuild the country, to buy weapons for Ukraine.
Vasyl Miroshnichenko, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.